Hey everybody, this is Scott Core with Coldwell Banker Realty down in sunny Tampa, Florida. And I wanted to start putting together a series that's a little bit more educational and a little bit more instructional and just kind of let you guys know what's going on in the market down here. I think after this crazy couple of years, there's a lot of terminology getting thrown around. I think some people are nervous to either buy or sell because they don't know what's going on. So over the next couple weeks, I'm going to give you guys some information. Some of it's going to be opinion-based, some of it's going to be statistic-based, but either way, the intent is to educate you guys so we have a more educated consumer base. Today, what I wanted to talk to you guys about was what exactly does it mean when we talk about a buyer or seller's market, okay? So in real estate, we use a statistic called an absorption rate. And what this rate is we crunch a bunch of numbers and we say, how long would it take for us to sell everything that's on the market today, okay? And that's how we decide when you hear people talking about inventory. There's 6 months of inventory, there's 3 months of inventory, there's 2 weeks of inventory, okay? The answer to that question is 6 to 7 months. That would be considered a pretty balanced market. That means the buyer pool and the seller pool is pretty even. Negotiating is going to be pretty even. You know, you're going to get concessions on both sides, things like that. That would be an ideal, perfect world, but we know that the world doesn't work like that. So if we have more than 6 or 7 months worth of inventory, that would be considered a buyer's market. That means for negotiating purposes, the buyers have the upper hand. In a market like this, generally means there's not a whole lot of buyers going around. There's a ton of sellers. So the buyers have the pick of the litter, and they're going to have the upper hand if sellers want to sell. Okay? Now we get to the seller's market, right? That's the word that's being thrown around a lot lately. If we have less than 6 months of inventory, that would be considered a seller's market. That means there's less inventory than the buyer's pool, right? Supply and demand. And because of that, sellers are going to have a little bit of an upper hand in negotiating and everything like that. Now, let's forget about the past 2 years for a second. Let's put things into perspective. If we start getting, historically, if we start getting less than 3 months of inventory in any given market, personally, I would consider that a very, very strong seller's market. When you start getting to that threshold of less than 3 months of inventory, we're in a very strong seller's market. Again, using this absorption rate number, okay? What we've seen in a lot of markets in the past couple of years, I've seen pockets here in Tampa at certain points in time that have had a week of inventory, 2 weeks of inventory, a few days of inventory, okay? Now let's put that in perspective. I just said if we have less than 3 months of inventory, we're in a pretty strong seller's market, okay? So the reason I'm making this point is people are asking, you know, is the market cooling off? Are we shifting into a buyer's market? We're definitely shifting. We're seeing interest rates go up, and we'll talk about that in another video. But the point is that are things cooling off? Yes, they are. They're scaling back a little bit. But you have to remember, we're still in a seller's market, okay? The market still favors sellers. If you start seeing things that were on the market for 2 days and it's starting to take 2 to 3 weeks to sell, it's starting to take a month to sell, this is still indications, historically, comparatively to other markets, this is a strong seller's market. However, buyers have a little bit more opportunity as inventory is starting to come back onto the market. Buyers have a little bit more opportunity. They have a little bit more time to look around. Things aren't so chaotic. We're seeing more offers get accepted that aren't monster cash over asking offers. If in certain areas in Tampa, if things are priced right, they're still going over asking, but we're not seeing that crazy chaotic aggressiveness. Again, that's from what I've seen. Take into account also, the last thing I'll leave you with before I leave is that real estate tends to be local in nature. So if you're in a different market, if you're in another state, another city, you may want to check with your local professional about what exactly is going on in your market. The Tampa market is still a very hot market. We're one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. Nevertheless, things are starting to cool off a little bit, but we're still in a seller's market, okay? So if you have any questions about that vocabulary, what that means, if you want my opinion on anything, if you want me to run statistics, you can always give me a call. You can shoot me a text, or you can email me, okay? Scott.core@cbrealty.com, 631-992-1927. I hope you found this useful. And like I said, any questions for me, if you want to share this video, feel free. Look forward to talking to you soon. Cheers.